Alrighty, so taking a quick look, today's homework is listing square roots and putting them in order, okay? So we've got to figure out where each of these numbers belong, what they're supposed to be doing, where they're supposed to be at. So before we actually get going here, we're going to talk about that whole perfect square idea again. And I want to discuss the numbers at the top of this, sort of like this number boxes I've got going on here. So if I take a look here, right here we go. So we can see 1 and 2. So these are the actual numbers like on a number line, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Kind of get the idea there. So we're going to list the square roots that fall between 1 and 2. The ones that fall between 2 and 3 from this set of numbers. In order to get a handle on that, it's not a bad idea to understand what is the square root version of each of these numbers. In other words, the number 1 is really the square root of 1. The number 2 is really the square root of 4. So obviously, again, we just said the number 2 is the square root of 4. The number 3 is the square root of 9. The number 4 is the square root of 16. So you can kind of get where I'm going here. So what I'm looking at here is, okay, well, in other words, what square roots down here fall between the square root of 1 and the square root of 4? Again, since the number 2 is the square root of 4. Over here, what numbers fall between the square root of 9 and the square root of 16? Because again, the square root of 9 is the number 3. The square root of the square root of 16 is the number 4, so on and so forth. So before we even start here, it's not a bad idea just to go through and list all those at the top. So square root of 16, square root of 25, right? And again, this is the square root of 25, square root of 36, right? 5 and 6. And I know it's getting kind of long here. Square root of 36, the square root of 49, the square root of, oops, I wrote a 4 instead of a square root sign. Oh, for Pete's sake. So you get the idea here. I'm going to pop those in real quick in a much nicer fashion here. Give me just a second. There we go. That was a bit nicer than what I had tried to write in there. I just kind of cheated and stole it from my answer keys. So, okay. So now you get the idea. When we come back here, square root of 1, right? Square root of 4, that's numbers 1 and 2. Square root of 4, square root of 9, that's numbers 2 and 3. Right? Just rewritten all the way out to the square root of 8 or square root of 64 is 8. Square root of 81 is the number 9. Okay, so we get the idea there. Now then, so we got to fit these numbers down below into there, and then we're going to put on the number line as well. And again, I'm going to provide the answer key in the class kick for you. So let's start. Let's take a look here. Let's start with one. So if we have here the square root of 23, well, the square root of 23, let's see, would fall between the square root of 16 and the square root of 25. So you could write on here, well, square root of 23 fits there. Okay, keep going, right? And we know there's lots of other numbers that are going to fit there. Square root of 39, well, that's not going to fit there, right? That's going to go in the next box. So you could go square root of 39. Well, that's going to fall between the square root of 36 and 49. So you can do this with all the numbers. And once you've done that, you're going to go down below and put them in order on this number line. Now, notice here on the number line that I have placed marks in between each one to kind of help guide you. Okay, so I'm going to give you I'm going to give the answers for the ones between 7 and 8. I'm going to give you that right here. Square root of 56 and the square root of, so let's go down here. So we see the square root of 56, here we go. Square root of 56, that's going to fall between 49 and 64. So square root of 56. And we also are going to find the square root of 51 is going to fall there because 51 is between 49 and 61. So square root of 51. There we go. Now then, I'm going to take these guys. I'm going to put them. Notice that they are between the numbers 7 and 8. Right? Square root of 56 falls between square root of 49 and 64. The square root of 51 falls between the square root of 49 and 64. But again, the square root of 49 is the number 7. The square root of 64 is the number 8. So these two, 56 and 51, are going to fall in here. Now, there's lots of them, obviously, lots more than just we're doing, but these are some random ones that I picked. We're going to put in the number line. So I'm going to take the square root of 51, by the way, has to be smaller than the square root of 56. So I'm going to put that here in my number line. Square root of 51. And we know the square root of 56 is going to be slightly larger because 56 is bigger than 51. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay? Good questions, please ask. I don't want to give away too much here because I want you to actually do the work. So again, what you'll do is you'll place them up here in the box, in the appropriate boxes based on the square root equivalents. Then you'll take and write them down here in the number line in order between each of the numbers that they belong between. Obviously, square root of 23 is going to be one of these lines right here. You don't know which one until you get the rest of the ones in here. And remember, these are, and you're going to find out soon enough, these are all irrational numbers because they're not the square root of perfect squares.